So we have some pretty shocking news that everybody needs to know. The ATF is now outright defying the nationwide vacatur of the pistol brace rule, and instead they are claiming that all braced pistols are in fact still SBRs, and therefore potentially your possession of them is illegal. So let's talk about what the ATF is now doing. Now, really quick before we jump into this video, I just want to ask you guys for a favor. Looking at some of my analytics, about 60% of all my viewers are actually not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to support the channel for free, please consider subscribing. Also, click the notification bell, turn on all notifications, because that helps to ensure that YouTube will actually send you these videos. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, in this video, we have to talk about some very important news, and this has to do with the ATF and their current restrictions on all braced pistols and treating them as actual SBRs. Despite the fact that there are currently a nationwide vacatur on their pistol brace rule and also multiple preliminary injunctions, which in fact are protecting various 2A organizations and their memberships, the ATF just made a statement that they can and will enforce their interpretation of the NFA that essentially all braced pistols are SBRs. So despite the fact that they have a nationwide vacatur on the rule, despite the fact that there are multiple preliminary injunctions and that their rule has been struck down, they are now pivoting and saying that they can still do exactly what they want to do just under the statutory text. This, of course, should be concerning to everyone who owns or uses braced pistols, because the ATF is now taking the position that they can do this despite the fact that they've lost in multiple courtrooms. Now, this news comes directly from Gun Owners of America, or GOA. They're good friends of the channel. Eric Pratt and all of them over there are amazing. I support them. So this is coming directly from one of their members who reached out to the ATF for clarification on the whole pistol brace issue. And in response, that member got a letter from the ATF, and it makes various statements, including the fact that they are not going to actually follow what the courts have said in their decisions, and that the ATF still has the position that they can enforce this pistol brace ban. Keep in mind that GOA currently also has a lawsuit in a Texas federal district court and was granted a preliminary injunction against that pistol brace rule, not just for its organization, but also for its members. Also, there's the Mock versus Garland challenge, where you had the court there, the Judge Reed O'Connor, who issued a nationwide vacatur of the pistol brace rule, and that decision is currently still in place, blocking all of the pistol brace rule, and it's appealed up to the 5th Circuit, and the 5th Circuit has also acknowledged that as of right now, that pistol brace rule is vacated nationwide. So how did this information pop up? Well, it comes directly from GOA and that email from that one member. So we're going to read a letter from Eric Pratt, who sent this notice to the ATF when he got information from that member about what the ATF's current position is. So on December 12th, 2024, this member of GOA received a response from the ATF, and it came from the FIPB, which stands for the ATF's Firearms Industry Programs Branch. Specifically, the member reported having recently purchased a CZ Scorpion Mini Plus and considered actually installing a pistol brace on that CZ Scorpion Mini. Now, this member stated to the ATF that they reached out to the ATF because they couldn't find appropriate information online, that they found conflicting information, and that they wanted clarification on what are the applicable regulations and what they could and could not do. Now, my natural response to this is, never reach out to the ATF, guys. Why do we still have people reaching out to the ATF? There is a ton of information online, my channel, other people's channels, forums, whatever you guys are on X, whatever. There's information out there. You do not need to reach out to the ATF. Please stop doing that. Now, of course, in response to this request, the FIPB responded with the position that the federal law requires a pistol with an attached stabilizing brace or stock to be registered as a short-barreled rifle. So FIPB's email contains no qualification of what that broad statement actually is. In fact, the ATF has no idea what sort of brace that GOA member planned to install on the pistol. And in other words, the FIPB advised this GOA member that if a pistol is equipped with a stabilizing brace, then it is an SBR as a categorical matter. Now, this is all coming directly from the letter that Eric Pratt sent to the ATF. Irrespective of multiple court orders that the ATF not enforce that reasoning, and even despite the rule's factorial test, which the ATF assured that only certain weapons equipped with a stabilizing brace would be SBRs under that test. Now, I want to stop here because this is very important, and it's important because this letter seems to be implying that the ATF might have abandoned their factoring test that they had in their pistol brace rule. Remember, there was this factor test where they would look at things like surface area, what is the market standard, what is the marketing, was it intended to be shouldered, what is the surface area, what is the weight, all of these factoring criteria that the ATF was supposed to consider, and then make a determination if a pistol with a brace on it was intended to actually be an SBR. Well, what this new letter or email from the ATF implies is that they've abandoned all of that, and they're taking the broad and comprehensive position that simply any pistol with a brace on it is per se an SBR. Now, that should be shocking to everybody. The letter from Eric Pratt goes on to say that despite acknowledging an injunction issued by the Northern District of Texas against the rule, FIPB then posted that irrespective of injunctions against enforcement of the rule, ATF remains responsible for enforcement of statutory provisions under that NFA, opining that the ATF may enforce its new view of the law, the rule and orders enjoining it notwithstanding. So again, that's a very shocking statement. The ATF now takes the position that they can enforce the pistol brace ban exclusively through the statutory text of the NFA. They state that even though their pistol brace rule was struck down in its entirety, even though they have a vacatur of the rule that was issued by the courts, even though there are multiple preliminary injunctions, they can still restrict these items. And in addition to being even more expansive than the rule itself, FIPB's new position likely violates the federal court's order that the ATF's expansion of the NFA liability not extend to members of GOA. Ignoring the district court's order in our case, FIPB's email adopts the cutesy theory that even though the ATF has been enjoined from enforcing the rule, it may still enforce its interpretation of the statute, which not coincidentally just so happens to be identical, if not worse than, the interpretation laid out in that rule. For the ATF to claim to enforce those same theories under the statute but not under the rule is a distinction without a difference, and one that demonstrates FIPB's contempt for those federal courts and the rule of law. Thus, FIPB is doing precisely what it is enjoined from doing, making ad hoc determinations in secret based on vague and unpublished criteria that no ordinary person could hope to understand. Then GOA goes on to state in their letter that a final point bears emphasis. It is difficult to imagine FIPB's novel interpretation of the NFA and unprecedented attempt to circumvent the orders of several federal district courts, surviving the imminent turnover of the presidential administration and forthcoming confirmation of a new ATF director. To the contrary, lawless actions like these stand out like a sore thumb for those like GOA who seek to stamp out government weaponization and corruption wherever it exists. Now, in response to this whole interaction, GOA initially asked for FIPB to answer, to give additional clarification by January 8th, but they received no response. And because of that, now they have elevated their concerns higher in the ATF. So they want a promise from the ATF that the ATF is not currently taking the position that simply because you have a brace on a pistol, it doesn't automatically make it an SBR. It seems like that's what the ATF is implying, but we want to make sure. GOA states that they want a written response in reply from the ATF by January 14th. So this, of course, is very concerning. It's interesting developments in this. The ATF has decided to go even more rogue. They're directly defying multiple federal court orders and coming up with a new statutory theory that they can still do the same thing, if not even more. Now they're taking, maybe through this letter, a more comprehensive approach, a broader approach that simply any firearm, any pistol with a brace on it is per se an SBR. This, of course, should be concerning to anybody with a pistol brace, so make sure you share this video around. We're going to give GOA our support, and we should have potentially some answer, maybe this month. Maybe the ATF will decide to actually file a reply by January 14th. But regardless, I have no doubt that this new information, this new evidence will be submitted to the federal courts in all of these challenges, because the ATF made multiple statements during these arguments that they would not take additional actions, that they would not try to do this. And lo and behold, they are still doing this despite all those orders. So as we get more information, as things develop, I will let you guys know. If you like this video and you like to support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. But as always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget, this nation was built by armed scholars, and this nation will be maintained by armed scholars.